committed is government to this stability in terms of sticking to the fund program and the other things you need to? Because there are some who are saying that on the monetary side, Dr. Johnson Isiama, he's done his bit. The buck stops with the fiscal in terms of ensuring that this stability that we've seen is sustained throughout.
Let's go to the IMF itself. No, I'm answering your question.
Yeah.
I'm answering your question. I'm saying that if you look at the staff report that was released after the fourth review, right? I believe that, you were also in Washington, we were there together, that in the news briefings, it was said that up to 4 minimum indices were being derailed and had to be brought back. Not by the previous administration. They were being derailed under the previous administration, right? And they had to be brought back in order that we satisfy the condition for going to the board.
Typical of an election year, some would say. During all those indicators.
But the correction has to be done. And let me remind you, that it was in an election year in 2016 when we did zero financing. It was in an election year in 2016, when we did 57%, right? It was in an election year when we did 6.1% deficit, right? Back then, probably, it wouldn't have dawned on people, that these were real, achievements. Let's grant it. But then having defaulted and having seen an election year, what 2016 proved was that it is possible to have an election and still have, and mind you, when I say this, people say, oh, okay, but that's why. But mind you, between 2015 and 2016 was when we also did the most infrastructure. We were spending. We were borrowing. We were applying the borrowing to infrastructure. It was during that same period that we did Port expansion. It was during the same period, that we did Terminal 3. It was during that same period that we started Kumasi, Tamale airports and the rest. We did massive infrastructure, including social infrastructure, hospitals, clinics, and the rest. And yet we did not bust the budget. We did not. So what is it that has changed? With 3 oil fields, such that we are in a situation in which we are now, after the buffers. I'm saying that we could have, if we had continued with the measures, which shows that you can manage expenditure in an election year, probably would not have defaulted.
No, but I get from you that for government and for the president committed to fiscal discipline, that would help sustain the city stability. Because the argument is
not
that...
It's not just a city stability.
Because I just want to consider a city now. The argument is that the backstops to the fiscal, if we want to see this good run being sustained.
Yes, and that's why...
And government is very committed to that fiscal discipline.
Yes, we have to, because that is what will bring us back to B- ratings by the rating agencies. That is what will bring us, back to paying our debt. That is what will bring back, the domestic bond market. And the lesson there is that the next time Ghanaians, and I'm talking about Ghanaians and foreigners, including foreigners, of course, right, buy a government bond, right, be careful. Because if you continue repeating, nobody will patronize the bonds. If not even Ghanaians will patronize the bonds. So when we bring back the domestic bond market, right, the need for a debt repayment, account, right, applies to Ghanaians as to foreigners. Because Ghanaians, for the first time, suffered the haircut. Haircuts which the foreigners who gave us the loan and their taxpayers were the ones who were...
Things are going...
I'm saying that austerity doesn't have to be a dirty word. Austerity is discipline. I would say that let's be disciplined about how we generate revenue. Let's be disciplined about how we incur expenditure. Let's be disciplined.
How you spend.
That is the only way in which you remain in both the domestic and external markets that you are able to borrow to do the project.
And you...